Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, welcome in. My name is Mariah. I also go by Paging Moo, and I'm so happy you're here. Welcome everyone. So today, for today's video, we're just going to do a little wrap up of the past 2 months. September and October were some really good reading months. I got some amazing reads from both September and October. I was so happy. It was such a good month. I literally fell in love with so many new characters, so many books. I started new series and everything that I am so excited to continue. And I also worked on some series as well, and I am almost done with some. So I'm impressed with myself. So I don't have all the physical copies of all the books that I did read. Some of them I read, or no, not read, I listened to on Libby, and then I read on Kindle. So we do have some we don't have the copies of yet, but we will be getting those because I need my trophies, you know, if you get it, you get it. But September and October were really good. These are some of the books that we read, and I cannot wait to talk to y'all about them all. So without further ado, let's get started. So I started off September with The Locked Door by Frida McFadden. If you know me, I love Frida McFadden. She is one of my favorite authors. I just feel like she is like a queen of mystery thriller, honestly. Like whatever she writes, I will read. The Housemaid, if you have not read The Housemaid, highly recommend it. I eat that series up. I absolutely love it. I finished it actually, so I'm very proud of myself. But yeah, they're just fast-paced, addicting. I loved it. Now, I will say with this one, I gave it 3.5 stars. It just was kind of slow for me at first, but it did pick up, I think, like a little bit like halfway through the story. I really started getting into it. I was very interested. But it just wasn't her best. You know, I've read better by Frida. Took me a while to get into it. It is very interesting. I will say that. I was intrigued about some things, but it could have been better, honestly. Now, the plot twist at the end, I will say, did get me. Well, there were a couple of plot twists at the end. There was one that didn't get me. I did guess one, but there was a different one that I was like, and it makes me curious if Frida is maybe gonna do like something else with this character maybe in the future. Don't know, but it's a possibility. Like I said, it did take a little bit to get into. I still recommend it. Anything Frida writes, I highly recommend, because just because I couldn't get into it at first doesn't mean you can't. So yeah, this was book number 1. Still love Frida. I felt bad about this one. Okay, so then I read a Twisted Tale anthology. Okay, and by read, I mean I didn't. Okay, I didn't even finish the first short story, actually. I think I got like 30 pages in, and I just could not get into it. I literally just was not in the mood for it. I was not vibing with it, so I did a softie enough. I was like, maybe I'll come back to it later. Maybe I'll just read one short story at a time, maybe in between books when I pick it back up. But I just was not feeling this, which is so sad because this is just a bunch of Disney like short story retellings. Like the very first one, and I was so excited for it too. What if Snow White learned magic? And I just was not getting into them. And these are only like 40-page short stories, you know, like this should have been something so easy, and I just was not vibing with it. I was not feeling it. So I was like, you know, after over a week of having this pulled out and barely picking it up, I was like, I'm not into it. I need to set it aside, and I need to move on to the next book because clearly this just is not it. So just softy enough of this, I will come back to it. I still want to like try this out because this does seem very interesting to have like retellings, and I love retellings too. So maybe eventually I'll get back to this. It just wasn't the time. It's not the right time. This next book I don't have a physical copy of. I actually listened to it on Libby. Libby recommended it. I put a bunch of stuff on reserve on Libby, and then I was like, well, I need something to listen to like while I'm waiting for all of these, and I put like popular ones, like popular right now, and this was one that came up, and it was, I need to pull out my number, hang on. It was You Shouldn't Have Come Here by, I think it's called Davina Rose. I could be wrong though. I'll put a picture of the cover of right up here. But basically this was another like mystery thriller book, and I gave this one 3 stars. I don't know what was up with the mystery thriller books starting this month, but it was not a good mystery thriller book month, I will say that. So this one got 3 stars. I just really didn't feel like it was a mystery thriller at all. That's just me. Honestly, there were creepy things going on, like stuff happening and stuff, but I was not like spooked, if that makes sense. And then it's like all this stuff happened at the end, and I'm like, oh, okay, I guess. Like, it was a cool concept, don't get me wrong. The concept was really cool at the end and everything, and it did get me, like, I wasn't expecting the ending, but it just still, the book was like not leading up to it. I don't know, I did not like this, and it was so sad because I've heard some people be like, this creeped me out, it was so good, and I was not that big of a fan. There were some parts where I was like, okay, and then there were parts where I was like, what? You know, so yeah. I will try other books by this author eventually. This was just kind of a letdown, and I really felt like I was really gonna like this. It just wasn't, I don't know, and I feel like audiobooks I get more into because like I'm hearing it and I'm like, but like this one just, it was not that good. Sorry if you like the book, don't hate me. If you like okay, by the way, if you liked any of these, please don't come after me. If you liked any of these, that's what reading is, you know, like if you like something, I may not like it, and if I like something, you may like it. It's like Icebreaker. I will say that. I love Icebreaker. I loved Icebreaker. I have the special edition of Icebreaker. I have the regular one. I will be getting the probably smut version of Icebreaker as well. I love Icebreaker. And I had someone comment on one of my videos and they were like, not Icebreaker. And like, I'm like, I know a lot of people don't like Icebreaker, but I did. And I do, and I stand by it. But that's how reading is. Like, you're gonna like something I don't like, I'm gonna like something you don't like. And that's why we get to rank it and give our ratings and give our opinions. So yeah, don't come at me. Then, oh wait. We had a good month actually with this one. A Good Girl's Guide to Murder by Holly Jackson. I kid you not, Holly Jackson just has not done me wrong. This is the second book I've read by her, and she is quickly becoming one of my favorite authors. Her books are just so fast-paced, so interesting. I am addicted to them, literally. I read 5 Survive by her, and now I read this, and this was just amazing. My only regret was this took me like a week and a half, 2 weeks to read, and I wish I just would have sat down and binged it in just like 2 days. It was that good. I was like, man, I would have enjoyed this so much more. I feel like this would have been 5 stars if I would have done that. I gave it 4 stars, but I feel like it could have been up to like 4.5 to 5 stars if I would have just binged this in a couple of days. This is so good. Let me tell you. So it says, pretty and popular high school senior Andy Bell was murdered by her boyfriend Sal Singe, I think is how it's supposed to be said. I'm sorry if I'm saying that wrong. Who then killed himself. It was all anyone could talk about, and 5 years later, Pip sees how the tragedy, if you make fun of me, I don't want to hear it, still haunts her town. Now, a senior herself, Pip decides to re-examine the closed case for her final project, at first just to cast doubt on the original investigation, but soon she discovers a trail of dark secrets that might actually prove Sal's innocence. And the line between past and present begins to blur. Someone in Fairview doesn't want Pip digging around for answers, and now her own life might be in danger. Yeah, and for those of y'all who don't know, I actually put the second book in this series on my November TBR, so I am continuing this series. I'm addicted. It's so good. And if you have not picked this up yet, or a Holly Jackson book in general, what are you doing? What are you doing? She's another queen with these mystery thrillers, I'm telling you. Okay, and then the next book I did, I want to say I somewhat finished a series, because originally these 3 books came out, and then a 4th book came out, and now a 5th book is coming out next year. So I want to say I finished the original series is what I'm gonna say, and I have to do the 2 books that are continuing it. So that is Mockingjay by Suzanne Collins. I love the Hunger Games. This is actually just a reread. I read this entire series in high school, my junior year, because the movies were coming out and everything, and so my high school AP English teacher actually allowed us to read Hunger Games for one of our books in class, and so yeah, I'm doing that. So then I just continued the last 2 books as well. So this was a reread. This one is my least favorite, I think, out of all 3 of them, just because it's more like political and everything. It's more like government trying to continue this rebellion and everything and overthrow the Capitol. It is really good. If you have not read this series and you have seen the movies, you are missing out, because the books are better. The books are way better. That's just me. You get more details out of them and everything. Same thing with Harry Potter. If you haven't read the Harry Potter books, me, I've only read the first one. I have no room to talk. But the first one's better than the movie, in my opinion. And I am continuing that series. So, but yeah, this just follows Katniss still, you know, after she has been, not released, escaped the Hunger Games, I guess, captured by District 13. I will say that, because she doesn't know anything about it. So, and this is basically her journey of overthrowing the Capitol, being the Mockingjay, and saving Pita, and her love triangle continuing. It's just, yeah, pretty much. I mean, if you haven't seen the movies, you know, you at least watch the movies. The movies are good too, but if you don't plan on reading the book. But I love this. I gave this, I think, 3.5 stars, just because, like I said, it's not my favorite, but still a good story. I love it. I love The Hunger Games so much. It's one of my favorite, like, YA series ever. And I'm Team Peta forever. And if you're Team Gel, don't talk to me. I'm just playing. And then we ended September with A Flicker in the Dark by Stacey Willingham. This one did get 4 stars. I will say that. This one did get 4 stars. It still wasn't amazing. The ending, I will say, the ending is what saved it. This was going to be a 3.5 stars, and then the ending pushed it to a 4 star. So the ending made a big difference for me. It was all right. This one, again, is another, like, slow paced at first, and it's so sad because you get the past POV, and then you get present POV, and past POV had me more interested than present POV. Honestly, I was like, man, I'd rather just read about everything that happened before than this. But this is another, like, mystery thriller book. It's kind of similar to The Locked Door in a certain way, in my opinion. It was kind of similar to The Locked Door in the whole, like, father-daughter aspect to me and everything, and the whole, like, things coming back now later. So, but the ending on this was, like, the ending was so good. And there was the last line. I'm not going to read it to y'all clearly. It gave me chills, honestly. It was needed. Let me just say that. And if you've read this, you know that last line is like, wow, it was needed. And, like, just the last bit of this was just like, it just made me feel something. I loved it. Like I said, it is kind of slow and everything. It was like, but still, with that ending, I love the ending so much. So maybe you'll like it more than me, but like I said, I loved, like, the past, going back to the past, like, POV, and, like, reading that and then getting to the ending. So those were my favorite parts of this one. We started October so strong, and I kid you not, this author has not done me wrong ever, and I will continue to read her. Allie Hazelwood. Oh my gosh. 4.5 stars. Checkmate. It was so good. This is a chess romance, and it was amazing. I absolutely love this. So you have Mallory, who gave up chess because things happened with her father and everything. She is supporting her family because her mom is ill and she has siblings and everything, so she is just working. She didn't go to college, all that. She quit chess, okay? But her friend needs her really badly to help with this, like, charity tournament or whatever. And that's when she meets Nolan, who is, like, the #1 chess player around right now. He's Grandmaster, I believe. I don't know much about chess, so don't come at me if you're a chess person. But I believe he's a Grandmaster. He's the #1 chess player in the world and everything. And, like, it's hard to defeat him. And she beats him. And then he's like, what the? And he's obsessed with her. And he's like, I want to play you in chess. And that's pretty much, like, she refuses. I will say that. She refuses. So you get this, like, build up and this tension and everything. And Mallory doesn't want to do chess, and he wants her to do chess. And it's this back and forth and everything. And it's so good. It is so, so good. I loved it. It was, like, not rivals to lovers, really, because I really feel like they weren't rivals or anything. It's like strangers to friends to lovers, like, but they still, like, are rivals in the chess world sometimes. I really love this. I'm not a chess person, but I just really love rom-coms. And Allie Hazelwood, I have read, I think this is her second book I've read by her, and just both, the last one was 4 stars, this one's 4.5. Like, she just has not done me wrong. I just love this so much. And there really was not any spice in this either. I would say there's probably like one scene that's like somewhat, and it's not even, it's very YA. It's very YA. I will say well, hang on. There are comments in here and stuff that are not YA, but the spice scene is YA. So I will say that. Do what you will with that. I picked up Caravel finally. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. I gave this 3.75 stars. It was still a good time. My problem was I kind of knew some things going on, and I think that ruined the experience for me because I have listened to reviews of this before, and so I feel like I fully did not get immersed into this. So I feel like if you haven't read this yet and you haven't heard reviews on it, you really should just go into this blindly. That's just my opinion personally. I feel like you'll get a better result out of it than I did. And that's why I'm not even gonna like say much right now. I truly think you should just go into this blind. Don't even read the back of it or anything. And maybe even reading the description, you can still be fully immersed. I just know I couldn't. So maybe it was just, maybe it's a me problem. Guys, I finished this book in like 3 days. Like I literally loved it so much. And that was Little Strangers by Lee Rivers. This is a taboo romance. They are foster siblings. And it gets wild. I mean, absolutely crazy. Check your trigger warnings. This is not for the lighthearted. This is for my dark romance girlies who are unhinged and want something that is gonna make you question yourself. And trust me, I did. I feel like a dark romance book, if it doesn't make me question myself, it's just not worth it. This definitely did. They are foster siblings. They have this attraction to each other over the years, but they're both like, it's wrong, da 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 da. And then finally, like, certain things start like happening, being said and stuff like that. And I'm gonna leave it at that because I don't want to get too much into it. It gets crazy, and I will say there are things that happen with a screwdriver and a spider at different times, but still, unhinged, absolutely unhinged, and I loved it. I gave it 4 stars. Don't come for me. Okay, and then another book that I read was Carrie. I checked this out from my local library. I really wanted to get a Stephen King book in for the month of October, and for all you Stephen King lovers, you already know most of his books are thick. He's got a thick collection, and I will eventually get there, but I knew I wanted like a shorter read, and Carrie was a little over 200 pages. I think it was like 230 pages. I've seen bits and pieces of the movie, but I am a theater major, so I would rather see the musical than the movie, but I will watch the movie, of course, right after I listen to the musical as well, and probably go and see the musical eventually. It was really good. I gave it 4 stars, honestly. This honestly makes me question a lot, because apparently Stephen King made Carrie based on 2 girls that he knew in school, one who had a super religious mom and then one who got bullied and harassed a lot in school, and that's how he made Carrie. And that is basically the best way to describe Carrie. It's this girl, she's in high school, and she has grown up with her mom, who is super religious all of her life, and everything is pretty much a sin in her mom's eyes and everything. And so Carrie is not allowed to do a lot. She stays in the house, she prays. Her mom locks her in the closet and stuff like that too. It's actually crazy. And then you have her going to school, and because she's so weird and she's religious and stuff like that, all these kids are making fun of her and everything. And so basically this is Carrie's story through like all of it. But what they don't know is that she's telekinesis. I think that's how you say it. If I'm saying it wrong, I'm sorry. I'm like 90% confident it's telekinesis. So, and so she starts like learning how to really use it, to like control it and work it. So, and it's basically her story of going through all this and what happens. I don't want to spoil too much if y'all haven't seen it. I feel like I've said a lot already. Just know this made me question. I feel like every high schooler should read this. Honestly, make them read it in freshman year. And that's just my opinion. I feel like this really puts a warning label on high school bullying and harassment and what consequences can happen from it. There may not be real consequences that can happen in our world, but I'm just saying, you never know what could happen. And like, you really should treat people the way they should be treated, the way you want to be treated. Like, okay, on a nicer, fluffier, happier note, I read Sinner by Sierra Simone. If you didn't know, I read Priest a couple months ago, and I was obsessed with Priest. I love Priest so much. This was not as good, but it was still good. I loved it. So I gave this one 3.5 stars. It was still a good time. I just didn't enjoy it as much as Priest. But basically this is about, Zinni. I couldn't remember her first name. Zinni is basically working on becoming a nun. Eventually she's going through the schooling and everything for it. But basically who's in charge of her is like, you haven't really experienced enough of life to know what you're giving up, and you should. So what she does is she goes to one of her brother's best friends, and she's like, help me experience what they're thinking I'm missing. If you know, you know. If you know, you know. And so he's like, no, I can't do that. But then he's like, but I'm going to. There's 3 books in this series. It's basically all 3 brothers. There's 3 brothers in this series, so it follows each of them and like their relationship. So this is the second one. I have 1 more book left in this series, and then I'm done. And I'm so excited to be wrapping up the series. It's just, they're forbidden romances that should not be happening, but they do. And it's a guilty pleasure, and it's so good. It's so addicting. I love it. And they're all fast paced. Like, this is literally like, Spice started on page 81. Page 81 is when I got my first spicy scene, and I love when a book does that for me. It's like a nice palate cleanser in my opinion. And then I finished out October with this was my top read of October. So Checkmate was the higher ranked one, but this one I'm still thinking about to this day, and maybe it's because I recently just finished it, but I'm addicted to it. To buy book 2 to this series, and I have book 1 in hardback, and they only had book 2 in paperback. Why, I don't know. So I ordered it. It's gonna be here tomorrow, and then the 3rd book in the series comes out in 9 days now, and I'm ready to just binge the series. I'm that addicted to it. The story has me hooked. That's Light Lark by Alex Esther. Oh my gosh, this was so addicting. I remember the first night I was reading it, I stayed up until 4 a.m. reading this. I did not finish it. I finished it the next day though, but I loved this book so much. It was so addicting. It was so fast-paced. It's basically like a fantasy Hunger Games, but not as brutal or anything. It's not like all these victors or stuff like that, but it's basically 6 rulers from different realms come together to try to break this curse that the island only comes back every 100 of years, and so they have to work together to try to break this curse and let their realms like live freely, curse free pretty much. So we basically revolve around Isla. You only get Isla's POV, only hers. I don't know, it was just a really good time. I'm addicted. I'm still thinking about these characters. There is a love triangle in this, and I think that's why I'm so addicted to this, because I know the clear winner of the love triangle for me, but I don't know what the author has in mind for me. So read it. I give it 4.25 stars. Honestly, the more I think about it, it's probably 4.5, but it's staying at 4.25 right now because Night Bane may be better. And then the love triangle, there's one clear winner, and if you don't agree with me, you're wrong, just like you're wrong about Gail. Just saying it. I'm just saying it now. There's one clear winner in this, just like in the Hunger Games, to my heart, and I want it that way. And in book 3, if I bawl my eyes out because I am wrong, I'm gonna be so upset. So I'm not gonna give y'all my opinion on who I think is the clear winner of the love triangle. If you have read this and you have an opinion, please comment down below who you would choose in the love triangle. I am very intrigued to learn what y'all think. Okay, this one's paperback, but hear me out, okay? I went to Walmart today, okay, to grab a fan because we lost the remote to our AC. It's a long story, whatever. So I needed a fan because I was burning up and I was sweating, and I didn't want to record this video, okay? While I was sweating. So I went and I saw Night Bane there, and it is the book of the year for Walmart, and it has sprayed edges and stuff, and I was like, I cannot like not get this. Like, I have to get this. Night Bane will be here tomorrow, the hardback, and I'm gonna start reading it. It's not on my November TBR, but I don't care. I don't even care. That's how addicting it's so addicting. That's how addicted it is, and I need to continue the stories, and I need to know. And I have a friend, my friend Tara, that I went to high school with. She commented on my Facebook status when I was talking about Light Lark and how I finished it, and she said Night Bane is just as good. So I trust Tara because she has great recommendations. She's on me about reading Throne of Glass. I gotta do that, but I'll do it eventually. I need to read Akatar first. But so yeah, I did get the sprayed edge version of this. So if you haven't and you love the story, you haven't been to Walmart, you should go get this book of the year. And that was all I read in the month of September and October. That was our wrap up. So yeah, a really good reading month, honestly. My mystery thrillers were kind of a little flat, but I had some great stories. I really feel like I'm hitting my fantasy like era. Like, I really feel like fantasy is starting to really hit me, and that's like what I'm into right now. So thank you all for watching. I really do appreciate it. If you made it to the end of this video, please drop any flower emoji down at the bottom so that way I know, you know, we'll do it for like our Light Lark, since there's flowers on the cover, so you know, so drop a flower below. If you have not liked or subscribed, please do. I really appreciate it. We will be back with more. I think my next video that I am going to do is kind of going to be like a haul of all the books that I've recently got, so that would be our next one. And then we will probably be doing a reading vlog of like continuing series with me and stuff. I have a bunch of ideas, so if you want to stick around for that, please hit the subscribe button so that way you'll know. Thank you all. I love y'all, and I hope y'all have an amazing reading month. Yeah, see you all next time. Bye.